Randy Orton's recent fake injury has us recalling other times wrestlers pulled the wool over their eyes with a fake retirement. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 7 times wrestlers faked their retirements, usually in order to get one over on their opponents. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. Number 1. Ric Flair. Not only has the Nature Boy retired several times from wrestling only to return, but on at least one occasion he's used retirement as a way to lure his opponents into a false sense of security. Back in 1983, Flair was chasing Harley Race for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, and it looked like the belt would soon be around Flair's waist again. However, Harley Race wasn't going anywhere easy, and offered $25,000 to anyone who could eliminate Ric Flair from wrestling. Eventually, Flair's friend Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. betrayed him, joining forces with Dick Slater to take the Nature Boy out with a vicious spike piledriver and neckbreaker, leading to Flair announcing his retirement. Unfortunately for Orton and Slater, the retirement was just a ruse, something they found out the hard way when Slick Rick attacked them with a baseball bat while they were working a tag match. Flair vowed revenge with his new tag partner, the baseball bat, and went on to defeat Race at the first ever Starrcade. Number 2. Mark Henry. In June 2013, it looked like World's Strongest Man Mark Henry was seriously considering retirement, at least it seemed that way. Back in May, Henry dropped a strap match to Sheamus at Extreme Rules and announced he was going home. After teasing a retirement via social media, Henry declared he was retiring from the ring, appearing on Raw and inviting WWE Champion John Cena to stay with him as he bid farewell to the WWE Universe while wearing a beautiful salmon-colored blazer. A tearful Henry thanked the fans, put over Cena, then delivered a World's Strongest Slam to the WWE Champion, proclaiming he still had lots left in the tank and he was coming for Cena's title. Henry would challenge Cena for the title at 2013's Money in the Bank pay-per-view, but failed to win it. Number 3. Randy Orton Part 1. Poet Robert Browning once famously wrote, but a man's reach should exceed his grasp, or what's a heaven for? Unfortunately for Randy Orton, who was working his legend killer gimmick at the time, his reach exceeded his grasp, leading on a path straight to hell when he tried to extinguish the legend of The Undertaker. Orton spent much of 2005 trying to finish off The Undertaker, falling to him at WrestleMania 21, but bouncing back with a win at No Mercy thanks to help from his dad Cowboy Bob Orton Jr. Orton's luck ran out when he was booked in a Hell in a Cell match against Taker at 2005's Armageddon pay-per-view. After watching videos of the carnage inflicted on The Undertaker's opponents in the Hell in a Cell match, Orton wisely announced his retirement from the ring. The cocky 25-year-old superstar told the fans he'd done more than most men accomplish in a full life, but acknowledged no one could extinguish the legend of The Undertaker. When SmackDown general manager Teddy Long threatened to sue Orton for breach of contract, the legend killer told Teddy he'd rather take his chances in court than in a cage against the Phenom. When Randy tried to bail out of the ring, The Undertaker and his druids blocked his path. That is until one of the druids grabbed The Undertaker's urn while Randy attacked The Undertaker mercilessly. The fans watched as the druid unmasked, revealing himself as Bob Orton Jr. Randy bloodied The Undertaker with a steel chair before announcing he'd see him at the pay-per-view. Despite the damage inflicted on Taker, Orton came up short at Armageddon, ending the feud. Number 4. Randy Orton Part 2. Apparently AJ Styles was unfamiliar with Randy's previous fake farewell in 2005, otherwise how to explain how the Phenomenal One became the Fooled One during the 30th December 2019 edition of Monday Night Raw. In case you missed it, a forlorn Randy Orton hobbled out to the ring on crutches to announce he had indeed been injured at a recent house show, and that he was unsure when or even if he might return to the ring. Naturally, AJ Styles couldn't pass on the chance to taunt Orton, and the heel showed up to lay into Orton, telling the master of the RKO that he was a patient man and he'd wait to face Orton again, vowing not only to make him tap out to the calf buster, but to retire him. AJ Styles fell for Randy Orton's ploy as Randy told AJ that unlike Styles, he wasn't patient, RKOing Styles and revealing his injury was a setup. This scenario was interesting in that the WWE played up Orton's so-called injury on its website, once again blurring kayfabe and reality in order to set up an angle. Number 5. Hulk Hogan. All good things must come to an end, even the run of Hulk Hogan. In 2011, the Hulkster was working in TNA as a heel, making life difficult for Sting and for all of TNA's babyfaces since he had acquired control of the promotion from Dixie Carter. After months of fighting Hogan's henchmen, Sting earned a match against Hogan at October's Bound for Glory pay-per-view. However, Hogan seemed to put the kibosh on things when he announced his retirement from the ring, bidding farewell to the fans in Knoxville, Tennessee. Hogan's retirement earned him a heartfelt reaction from fans until Sting showed up and played footage showing Hogan talking to Eric Bischoff backstage. The GTV-like footage revealed Hogan admitting his retirement was just a scam to fool the fans and enjoy a few weeks off before returning victoriously. With no one around besides Bischoff and a hidden camera, Hogan mocked the hillbilly fans as he and Eazy-E speculated the fans mortgaged their trailers to see the Hulkster one last time. Back in the ring, an angry Hogan lost control, not only telling Sting he'd meet him at Bound for Glory, but that he'd relinquish control of TNA if he lost. Sting's scandalous revelation of the Hulkster's deceitful departure positioned Hogan just where the Stinger wanted him, and Sting defeated Hogan, regaining control of TNA. Number 6. Batista. In spring of 2009, Batista feuded with Randy Orton, looking to win Orton's WWE Championship. Orton had made things difficult, relying on his legacy flunkies Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr. to give him the edge. However, at the 7th June 2009 Extreme Rules pay-per-view, Orton was locked in a steel cage match, and Batista won the day as well as the WWE Championship. Behind the scenes, Batista had torn his left bicep, forcing him to take time off. The WWE wrote him off television by having Orton and the Legacy lay him out on Raw after Extreme Rules, with Batista disappearing for months. Finally, on 14 September, the Animal returned to television, his arm in a sling, and Big Dave apparently announcing his retirement. Randy Orton showed up, mocking Batista's retirement and gloating over having ended his career. When Batista started laughing though, the fans knew there was something else going on. Orton demanded to know what was so funny, so Batista told him two things. Number 1, "You're so predictable," and number 2, "I know something you don't know." What Batista knew, of course, was that his arm was fully healed and Orton was in for a very unpleasant surprise. Batista took off his sling and clotheslined Orton, following up with a power slam and a second clothesline that sent Randy out of the ring. And number 7, Triple H Snakebite. During the peak of WWE's Attitude Era in 1999, Triple H was in a heated feud with the Texas Rattlesnake Stone Cold Steve Austin. The two would meet at the No Mercy pay-per-view, but before that, Triple H would play mind games with Austin, even going so far as to taking a rattlesnake and viciously killing it with a sledgehammer. The two would also have a backstage altercation, but a smart move led to Austin throwing Triple H into a locker room and trapping him with a real venomous rattlesnake. We wouldn't know what happened to him as Austin would lock the door. However, a few days later on that week's edition of SmackDown, Triple H would appear with a nasty rattlesnake bite on his face, as it was obvious the snake was venomous and struck him on the face. Triple H would then appear the week after and cut an emotional promo about how dangerous it has become being a wrestler and that everything has gone too far. Ultimately, this led to Triple H announcing his retirement. The cerebral assassin even suffered a convulsion and foamed at the mouth. After seeking medical attention, Triple H was seen backstage confronting Austin, who even felt somber after seeing the facial injury. However, it turned out all of this was a ruse to lure Austin into a false sense of security, as both he and Chyna would attack him, getting the upper hand before their match on Sunday. Triple H would then rip off his snakebite, revealing it to be prosthetic makeup all along. Triple H wasn't obviously retiring, and it seemed like the tactic worked, as Triple H would retain the WWE Championship in a bloody and brutal anything goes match. Now those were 6 times wrestlers faked a retirement. However, there are 2 honorable mentions, as these angles bordered on retirement angles or were too close to call. Number 1, Triple H. In 2012, Triple H had to deal with what he felt were Brock Lesnar's kayfabe outrageous contract demands. At the time, Hunter was billed on screen as the WWE's chief operating officer in addition to performing as a wrestler, and he made it clear Lesnar had no option to renegotiate his contract. Lesnar, never known for being a bundle of joy, attacked Triple H, breaking his arm by using the Chimera Lock. The two battle at 2012 SummerSlam, with Lesnar defeating Trips and breaking the game's arm again. On the 27th August, Triple H showed up on Raw, teasing he was at Crossroads and wondered if he still had it in him to beat someone like Brock Lesnar. Hunter disappeared for several months, making it seem as if his vague comments about walking away were in fact his way of saying goodbye for good. Hunter's true intentions became known during the 25th February 2013 edition of Raw when he saved Mr. McMahon from an attack by Brock Lesnar. Helmsley and Lesnar engaged in a wild brawl that made it clear Helmsley wasn't retiring soon. This led to a no-holds-barred match at WrestleMania 29 with the stipulation Hunter would retire if he lost. Naturally, the cerebral assassin prevailed, defeating the Beast and staying on. And number 2, Shawn Michaels. Hunter's D-Generation X teammate is no stranger to retirement angles either. In 2005, Mr. McMahon thanked Shawn Michaels for his role in the Montreal Screwjob, leading to the Heartbreak Kid telling McMahon that was in the past and that he was moving forward with his life. McMahon didn't like Michaels' response and began positioning Shawn into stipulation matches designed to make him lose. This continued at the 2006 Royal Rumble when Vince confronted Michaels during the Royal Rumble match, only to have Shane McMahon waylay Michaels and eliminate him from the Rumble. Finally, Mr. McMahon told Michaels it was time to retire, and he arranged a retirement ceremony for Mr. WrestleMania. There, Vinnie Mac told Michaels he didn't like him and that Michaels had something he could never attain: peace of mind. Vince continued talking of the burdens of running the WWE while dealing with his own insatiable appetites, all of it made worse by seeing Michaels leading a life of contentment. Naturally, Michaels tore up the retirement papers, leading to a feud with Vince and Shane that culminated in Michaels and Triple H reforming D-Generation X. But there you have it guys, 7 times wrestlers faked their retirement, not to mention 2 other retirement angles too good to ignore. Were there any more? Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.